Hi everyone. Uh, I'm Anuji, Test and Practice Lead at Tech for Services. Thank you for joining us in today's webinar, Supercharge Salesforce Rollouts with Qualitia Boson. Before we get on with it, I would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which we meet today, the people of the Wurundjeri Nation, and pay my respects to their elders past and present, as well as their emerging leaders. I extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here today. Quick housekeeping. Any questions? Use the Q&A box. We will address them. The session is recorded, so all registrants receive the recording and slides thereafter. Please keep your mics muted. If you need anything, drop that question in the Q&A box and we will take that up. Right. Today, you'll learn how to cut Salesforce rollout time by up to 70% while ensuring flawless deployments. We have two industry leaders here. Please join hands in welcoming Hitesh Madan, Director at Tech for Services, who has been instrumental in supporting many Salesforce transformations across medium-large customers. Another round of applause for Rahul Chaudhary, who's the founder and CEO of Qualitia. He started the company in the year 2011. He's an industry stalwart with deep understanding of the test automation domain. Thanks for joining, Hitesh and Rahul. Let's dive in. Hitesh, could you please brief our participants on who Tech for Services is, what we do, and how we can assist in achieving their testing goals?
Hey, thanks, Anuj, for getting us into the mix and giving this opportunity. So, Tech for Services, we were founded in 2015, and today we gladly have completed a decade of bringing transformational experiences for our customers. In fact, our delivery excellence shines with 450 plus successfully completed projects, besides being backed by 500 plus professional certifications across our teams. In fact, we have helped businesses across the range from medium to large customers in simplifying complexities, accelerating their growth, and future proofing their operations. In fact, Tech for Services has excelled with AI-powered test automation, and thanks to Qualitia team in choosing us as their partners. And we're really glad to work with them while we offer our AI-powered test automation solutions with Qualitia supporting us with its solutions. In fact, we offer a wide range of services from advisory to implementation, assisting clients in transitioning from manual to automated testing or upgrading from legacy automation frameworks to modern low code, no code tools. Our expertise covers a wide array of platforms and devices. In fact, then drawing on this cross platform expertise, we frequently encounter the evolving challenges across our customer engagements. And that's where I think one of the common industry wide problem or a challenge that we face. And today, I believe the Qualitia Boson team can help us overcome them. And we have Rahul Chaudhary and Smriti Jadhav with us to answer some of those burning questions. So, Rahul and Smriti may want to say hi to the team. I'll take a quick pause here. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Hitesh, for the introduction. Hello, very good afternoon, good morning. My name is Rahul. I'm a founder and CEO of Qualitia.
Awesome. Thanks. Smriti, over to you, please.
Thank you, Hitesh. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. I'm Smriti. I'm a part of tech solutioning team within Qualitia.
Awesome. Thanks. And now, Rahul, let me get back to one of the most burning questions that we face in the industry, and that is maintenance of automation scripts, right? It is one of the biggest issues across the industry, especially our Salesforce installations and implementations that we do. How can Qualitia Boson as a product help its customers reduce the maintenance efforts that they have to undergo for all their simple to complex implementations? Over to you to shed some light on this, Rahul.
Yeah, and thanks, Hitesh. And it's a very, very important question. In fact, as you rightly pointed out, it is a big issue because it doesn't matter how much or how many test cases you have automated if they are not available to be used sprint over sprint. And if you look at maintenance, there are two type of maintenance issues that everybody is facing. One of them is our ability to update the automation and all the time delays that is causing ultimately delayed regression and a delayed feedback. So there are a lot of efforts because of the programming interventions that we need to do to keep automation updated. And second, which is very common, that is independent of Salesforce also, is the stability of the automation scripts. It's like almost a never-ending chase to write those XPath, CSS, handle those shadow DOM objects, and keep the automation really in a working state across environments and browsers. I think both the issues are holding us back to really derive the true value from automation. Now, in case of Qualitia is a completely AI native solution which helps users to generate and update all end-to-end user journeys with just one click. That means it's almost instant. There are no time delays as far as keeping it updated is concerned. And the second most important point is about the stability. Qualitia has now US patented as well as India patented technology for self-healing that automatically heals that dynamic nature of the UI elements during execution. So it doesn't matter you're changing the environment, changing the browsers, your automation script will always execute. So that is well taken care by Qualitia Boson.
Awesome. So thanks for that, Rahul. In fact, that brings me to the next question, which is around the reliability. Right now, you understand that Salesforce application or CRM is especially pretty dynamic in nature. And what we have experienced is many automation scripts which are written, they actually break. And the reliability of these scripts becomes a huge challenge for the customers. So is there a way that Qualitia Boson can ensure probably 100% if that's a feasibility, right? If not near 100% reliability in script executions, is that a possibility that we can or the customers can expect?
Very much, very much. As I just talked about the US patent, see, most of the tools, what they are trying to do is they're trying to learn more than one property value at a time, hoping that one of them would be a match in your subsequent execution. Now, this also works, but it works for 20-25% of the time. So good 70% of the time, user need to really dig into the DOM structure, decode that logic, and write the XPath. Now, whatever we write holds its truth, maybe for the same browser or maybe for the same environment. But when you change that, then 60 to 65% of scripts will still continue to fail. Now, this is the biggest anxiety for any test automation engineer. What Qualitia has done, Qualitia has built those AI algorithms which will scan the entire DOM structure and fix that dynamic issue, that logic that breaks, fix that during execution in no time, and gives user a absolutely seamless execution experience across browsers and environments. So this is well taken care.
So when you mention across browsers, Rahul, does it also cover the mobile aspects as well, or it is only the browsers which we use on the desktop? So how is it?
It can be even the mobile browsers. Good, you pointed.
Fair. Yeah.
Thanks, Rahul. Thanks, Satish, for that. Probably another question that comes through. Current Salesforce testing tools in the market don't solve or are limited in their capabilities, right? The Salesforce application gets data from upstream and downstream applications. Customers do not want to use multiple test automation tools to do end-to-end testing for them. Can Qualitia Boson integrate with multiple inbound and outbound on-prem or SaaS applications for integration testing?
Yeah, this is a good question. We as an organization, with all our research and having invested more than 14 years now in this ecosystem, we believe that testing only Salesforce is 50% of job done. And that does not give us enough power to make those go live decisions, especially when things starts breaking apart in SIT environment. You have upstream applications, you have third-party APIs, you have mobile journeys, you have PDF content verification and validation, and there is so much to do and handle along with Salesforce to ensure that we are all set, ready to go live. Now, testing is not restricted to only Salesforce, and the tools that cannot support these end-to-end integrated journeys will restrict ourselves to focus only those journeys which are within Salesforce. That is, as I said, 50% of job done. We need a mechanism to ensure that we help users to build all end-to-end journeys. So Qualitia supports all those things. So you can have journey started from, let's say, an upstream application, go to Salesforce, maybe an ERP or some other application, then third party APIs, then probably go to mobile, get some maybe OTP, come back to Salesforce and do the final validations. And these technologies can be web applications, mobile applications, thick client applications, PDF content verification, database queries, anything. We support all those end to end journeys.
Interesting stuff, Rahul. We'd love to see all of that in play. Well, having said that, probably another question that I have. In the agile world where we are doing 2 week sprints, right? Testers often have only a day or two for testing, leading to poor test coverage, defects being caught late in pre-production or even production. So how does Qualitia ensure good test coverage and help catch these defects early during the development phase itself?
This is the most significant question. I think apart from all these questions, Goody brought it up. The reality is in a 2 week sprint, we just have one day. Now, whatever you can accomplish, you have a day. If you look at the tester's life, especially manual testers, they are super busy Friday, Saturday, Sunday, alternate week. There is a lot of burnout. And having done that, you really cannot complete the regression. And that is a recipe where you see the defect getting leaked into the higher environments. When we rebuild the entire technology and launched Qualitia Boson, we looked at this as a fundamental concern. Now, if you have only one day, how can you really build and update the automation and keep it extremely reliable? Otherwise, you are missing the whole point. And that is what is happening with most of the other tools. Now, you cannot do everything of your own, and the tool needs to do heavy lifting. If you look at enterprises, they want higher automation coverage. They want almost 100% certainty that whatever is built will get executed in all the environments. And while you do so, you have a constraint of time. And of course, you need to minimize the effort to fit everything into the same equation. So Qualitia Boson, when we build a mechanism by which we learn metadata, we learn the custom code, and help user build all end-to-end user journeys based on the CRUD operations, also based on the record types that you may have, so that there is no effort required to actually do the recording and same route of then writing, fixing X paths. Now, this is well supported by a good data combinations that you may have, because Salesforce is all about all positive, negative, edge cases data combinations. We are building the journey. We are giving you the test data explorer. And because we can learn everything in the first go, we can also learn all the changes that may be there because of the changes in the application. In the subsequent sprint, we learn all those changes and help user to just accept or reject those changes. So even change management is in hours, which otherwise takes few weeks.
Right.
So we're taking care of the time constraints. We are taking care of the efforts because you need minimal efforts. And of course, the certainty with our AI patent technology. So with certainty, with reduced time delays or almost no time delays and the minimal effort, you certainly can amp up the coverage. That also answers your next question. If this is a continuous and sustained process, then you actually arrest defects early, because you can easily retain 85% of test coverage within that one day constraint, sprint over sprint.
Fantastic. I think Rahul, that's really phenomenal to hear how you have or how Qualitia Boson covers end to end, whether it's maintenance, reliability, change management, regression control, reducing the defects. It's absolutely a fantastic effort, and I'm sure it's a true testament of what you and your team have done over the last many years, shouldn't be saying few years. I think it's over 14 years of journey that you've had in terms of building what you have built right now, and you're bringing it to the market now. I'm sure those learnings, the patent that you have, is going to be really useful for the customers to, lay their hands on such an impressive tool. So thanks for that. And now let's move to the next exciting part of the webinar today. Before we dive into the product demo part, I have one last critical question, which is, frequenting the minds of those who are evaluating the new tools, right? And that's around, again, no brainer. It's around security. How secure is the customer data when they are using or evaluating Qualitia Boson? What measures have you deployed in your tool to make sure that those risks are mitigated or the data is protected in some form and fashion? And data security is no brainer for anyone. So if you could shed some light on that, and then after that, we'll pass it on to Smriti for some of our participants or the attendees who are really keen to see the tool and feel the tool. I will immediately pass it on to Smriti after this question.
Sure. So it's so important that, without data security, no enterprise would adopt any technology, however good that technology is. So we do multiple things. We are ISO 27001 certified company. So security is not only about the product, but everything that we do. How do we handle every single piece of data? How do we handle that security? Another thing, the product that is Qualitia Boson undergoes a serious assessment, and this entire process is outsourced to EY. And Ernst& Young, based on certain global standards, assess the product for security. Most of our customers are in financial services segments. And these are large enterprise banks or insurance companies or lending organizations in the world. So data is of utmost important. The security of data is utmost important. So we do that too. So both the things help us with all those certifications in place, help us feel always confident about the client's data. But the most important part is Qualitia is a client server architecture.
Okay.
So all the data, the client data, resides within client's firewall. So all the measures taken care at the code level, architecture level, plus data being there within the client's firewall actually makes everything very secure, even from client's perspective.
Perfect. Thanks, Rahul, for addressing those questions. Let's jump on to the demo to see Qualitia Boson can do for our customers.
Sure.
Right?
Thank you.
And stop sharing and probably Smriti, do you want to share your screen now?
Yes. So we have a small presentation. Can you see my desktop?
Yes.
Okay. So just a quick introduction before we dive into the demo. So Qualitia is in business last 14 years, and we work across 3 regions, that is North America, India, and Australia, that is in APAC region. We have 120 customers now who have adopted this technology. That includes large footprint in financial services segment, also the large enterprise customers. That includes even few of the large telecom companies in the world. As we discussed briefly, the biggest challenge is the time constraint, along with the complexity that we need to handle when it comes to Salesforce. And as a ripple effect, because we cannot really test it complete, even with the existing tools and technologies, close to 45 to 50% of defects are found in UAT, pre-prod and prod. Now, test automation is, everybody understand, is a necessity. But given the constraint that we have, that is, we have only one day, the existing tool and technology cannot really handle that because of the very nature of the process. It is all about the software development process that we end up following. And then the end-to-end integration journeys that we also talked about, and of course, the certainty or the reliability of this suite. Now, when we looked at the problem, and as we said, what we decided to do is let tool do some basic fundamental heavy lifting. So Boson, in just one click, that is connecting Boson to your Salesforce org, generates all these end-to-end user journeys and of course help you update it with just one click at the moment you get the new sprint in the QA environment. We also talked about the overall technology that we use for the self heal. And this entire experience that you will see now holds its truth across all Salesforce cloud. So our prospects may be using Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, or even the industry cloud like Com Cloud or Financial Services Cloud. The experience remains exactly the same. So we'll just now quickly shift to the demo. So if you have any question, participants can write it in a chat. So we can even take this up as it comes. Great. So friends, this is Qualitia. Right from beginning, right from our inception, we really focused on the user experience because anything that is really simple or easy to use is naturally very fast. And that's what the intent of Qualitia is. You have a project. Within project, you have scenarios. And within scenarios, you have different end-to-end test flows. The first thing that you do with Qualitia Boson is connect Boson with your Salesforce org. It can be done with an admin as a login, and we'll learn all other user profiles, or you may actually log in with different user profiles. And the moment that connection is established using your Salesforce credentials, we learn everything the way you have implemented Salesforce. Now in this demo org, which is a live instance, there are two different users configured, marketing user and sales user. And if you see, we have learned that they have access to different Salesforce objects or even custom objects. And we also know what is their journey. Let's say if it is create lead, then what is the journey? And we even learn what is mandatory versus non-mandatory fields that you need to fill it up to actually navigate through and do your validations. So everything is learned, which takes the largest amount of time if you use any tool. Most of the tools use the record and playback as a mechanism. You record it, then take care of your experts, and then move on. Of course, a lot of effort intensive. And it doesn't even provide that reusability and most important, end-to-end traceability across your component to your test cases to your scenario. That actually kills a lot of time in change management. So we learned everything. We know that it is all traceable. What is left for the user is now build a flow that you want to test. Now we build one flow on the live environment. And the flow is we will log in into Salesforce. Then we will navigate to a particular object, let's say lead. And then we'll create one lead. And with a different user, that is a sales user, we will actually update that lead because sales user has certain privileges. Now, all these events that you see, launch the application, login, navigation, switch user, probably fire a database query, all these are common events, works exactly the same across all Salesforce clouds because it's based on force.com as a platform and Lightning as a framework. And Qualitia is very deeply integrated with both. That is force.com as a platform and Lightning as a framework. That is one of the reasons why we can learn everything the way you have implemented. So we have navigated to, let's say, lead as an object. Now we will create a lead. Now creating a lead is just defining that as a component so that it can be reused across the project. And once you define that, you generate the entire flow with just one click. We know that it is a marketing user and it's a lead. You just select it and just say generate. It will not only generate it, it will build the same sequence exactly the way it appears on the screen. So we literally recreate every screen that is there as a part of your navigation and validation flow that you have built it within Salesforce. So we have built that flow. We know every element. We know what is a default event, and we help you parameterize it so that you can actually amp up the coverage close to 100% with all possible data combinations. You can have positive data, negative data, and you can have n number of data combinations. Absolutely. There is no restriction. Sometimes automation engineers run short of that domain expertise and may miss some critical data combinations that should be there in your validation process. In that case, you can export this file, give it to subject matter experts, and get those combinations added, and just import it back, and you're all done. You're done with the flow, you're done with the data combination, and you're all set to execute. And that's all user needs to do. You can compare this effort with any other tool that is there. It all starts with basic requirement of you understanding the Salesforce, the data layer, the complex architecture of Salesforce that is behind our back. You don't need to. What you just need to know is what needs to be validated, and that's all. So just complete the flow now. So create lead is done. Now we will switch the user, search the same record, and as a sales user, we will edit it because only sales user has those privileges or permissions to edit certain fields. Now we know that edit can be reused, and we'll make it a reusable component. And once you just define it, now instead of marketing user, we'll go to the sales user and just generate that flow in one click. And maybe we'll create one more opportunity. So friends, we have customers who are large banks, where Qualitia is being used for complex corporate loan origination systems, working capital, wealth investment management technology, and across different high-tech companies, it is being used to manage the complex product configuration process. We have G Healthcare, Philips Healthcare, Click as a customer, and quite a few customers in across the domains. You can imagine the complexity that they need to deal with. And we have seen on an average, our customers need 1/5, 1/6 of the time initially, that goes up to 1/10 of the time as the reusability kicks in to generate these flows, and at maximum couple of hours to update it sprint over sprint. And that is humongous time saving, because time saved and the effort saved leads to the higher coverage. That is the only way we can manage the test automation to deliver true value sprint over sprint. So we're done building this flow. If you see now, the test data explorer is actually extended itself till create new opportunity. Now what is left is add the data combinations and probably add a couple of validation points. So we build the same flow exactly in the same way, where we have added the data combinations. So it is exactly same flow. If you see, there is one validation point. We are validating the toast message, whether or not the lead is created successfully, and we have added different data combinations. But this is it that you need to do and handle. Now, once you are done with your test automation script development, you need to start thinking what is your execution plan, because you have component level testing at Salesforce, that is object level testing. You have your own end-to-end Salesforce journeys, and you have all end-to-end integrated journeys. So you create your test suites accordingly, and add test cases into that test suites. Most importantly, you can also define their execution profile, because it is not about the happy path on one environment that can ever give us the results, but our ability to execute the same script across environments with different operating system and browser combinations actually gives us the 100% confidence of what we have tested. So you can define that and execute in parallel on different VMs. You can even schedule it for the execution. You can say, I want it to be executed daily, weekly, monthly at that particular time, or you can simply say execute, and it will invoke the execution on the same machine. Now, if you have observed one very important thing, we did not even look at Salesforce while building this flow. And this would be your experience for at least 80-85% of the time. What Qualitia cannot learn automatically is the flexi pages that you write, which is pure HTML code, has no traces of metadata in Salesforce. Otherwise, the rest of your journeys are actually learned automatically. So we are executing it, same flow. So lead is created. Now we'll switch the user. We'll now search the same record. And as a sales user, we'll update certain fields and then we'll create an opportunity. One very important point to mention here. So a lot of script fail because of a different performance of the application under test in different environments. In few environments, Salesforce performance could be a little slow. In few, it could be fast. But Qualitia, during runtime, sync itself, the execution syncs itself with the performance of that environment and ensure that no script would fail. You just need to define the upper limit of the sync time. Let's say it takes more than 5 minutes, and in that case, you need to probably let script fail. You can define that so. So execution is done. We'll give you all the high level information first, that this is executed in a particular environment, which test suite, which test case, the browser and operating system along with its version, execution time, and we help you bucket that result into 4 different categories. Pass is green, something is failed is amber. Of course, any potential failure against your validation points is a defect, and something not executed because of your error handling flags is grayed out. One of the critical requirement of a report is all the information well consolidated so that you can actually debug the report. Report should be available to be accessed by dev, business analyst, probably product managers, as well as the QA team, so that it should be easy to access, and you need all the information at one place. And this is exactly what Boson does. So you can click at any step, you can dig into that report, click into any step and know why that step is pass or fail, against which test data, and what is an application status at that moment of time. So you have all sequence of events with all the logs, data, application status at that moment of time to reach to a potential failure or a defect. And then it is so easy to recreate that defect in any environment or any moment of time, because you have all the data, you have environment data, you have operating system, browser version, and all the logs at one place. There's a question, can we integrate it with Jira or ADO? Very much. As far as Azure is concerned, we have 3-way integration. You can associate every script against your test plan or a user story. You can invoke the execution from Azure and then log a defect or a failure against that test plan or a user story within Azure DevOps. Same is true with Jira. The only thing is you don't invoke the execution from Jira, you invoke it from CI/CD tools like Jenkins, Bamboo, TeamCity, etc. Great. So we're done with a quick snapshot of how you can build it at a lightning speed. But the biggest challenge is not one's ability to build it, or it's not about we building the test suite for the first time. The challenge starts when we actually build the automation, because the sprint over sprint, there are so many changes. And of course, we need to take care of the certainty too. Now, we'll on this demo, we will actually make the changes in a live environment so that we can really look at how effective and efficient the change management process is. So we'll make few changes. Now changes can be of 3 categories. Something is updated, something is deleted, or something is added as a new journey. When there are new journeys added, you follow more or less the same process, because the Qualitia will sync everything. You just create those flows, but the challenge is changes and the deletion. And we'll see the both. Now we'll update one of the field.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm considering marketing campaign ID. I'll update its label to, let's suppose, a lead ID. I'll consider another Salesforce object as well, where we'll delete one field as well as we can add a new field. Let's suppose I'm deleting a discount percentage, which is associated to the opportunity. And maybe I'll create a new one. I'll make it only visible to the sales user profile. Yeah, I have updated, deleted one field and added a new one.
Fantastic. Now, as I said, the real challenge starts once we start updating the test suite for the subsequent sprint. The usual process, look at the time delays. Usual process, we execute whatever we have. Then there'll be failures. We need a couple of days to analyze those failures. We need at least a day or two to understand the change, and maybe a week or two more to update all the scripts. It means we lost that sprint. We lost the next sprint, and then the manual testing will creep in. And the same vicious circle will again see 45 to 50% defect in higher environments. Now we have automation, which takes more time to update, and then the overall value starts diminishing, right? In case of Boson, what is left for the user is to just press one button, just click one button, and that is sync. And the moment you start syncing in, we'll understand all the changes. Most importantly, what is the ripple effect of that change in your entire test automation suite? So we learned all these changes that we have done in front of you. You can click on any change. We will tell you in how many test cases or certain reusable component that change is to be applied. You can click on any test case. We'll bring that test case in front of you, highlight that particular step, and tell you that this is where this change is, and we will tell you what exactly is the change, so that every test automation engineer takes an informed decision. Now we know what it was earlier, what it is now. Based on my understanding of the user stories or my daily Scrum updates, I know whether to accept or reject this change. In the interest of time, we'll select all and say accept. And the moment you give that treatment, Qualitia will apply those changes across your test suites. Now, whenever you have deleted the fields, it will also give you an error message saying that if you accept all those changes, do you also want to delete those steps where the UI element is deleted? Because otherwise your script will fail. Now, we did not delete that step, but then Qualitia Boson will do all the required work to intimate us where do we need a manual intervention. For example, row number 52, where we have deleted the UI element, it will mark that test case, mark that test suites, mark that reusable component, and help us navigate to the step and tell us that there is no UI element here. And that was the discount percentage that we deleted. Now, user has two choices: either delete this step or just skip that step, because sometimes removal of fields can be by mistake and it may pop up into subsequent sprint, and you have also test data associated with it. So that is the reason we recommend that as a best practice you skip that step. And when you skip that, we'll again tell you that what is an impact of that change in your test suite. So you just confirm that you want to skip, and then it will allow you to accept all those changes. So the another change that we have accepted was the update in campaign ID, marketing campaign ID. We changed it to lead ID, and that is also updated. And you are done. Can you imagine those hundreds of changes? The biggest concern today with all our customers is they even don't know how many test scripts to be updated. And this is where the gap is, and that is the reason we need a long time for stabilizing our test automation suites after every release. And we can't do it sprint or sprint. And if you can't do it sprint or sprint, and then you have limited test coverage, which is usually less than 20-25%, and then you still need a large manual testing team, and then you are not actually getting the maximum value out of your test automation. So I think all your questions were very relevant, Anuj and Hitesh, and I've covered most of them as a part of the demo. Before I go to the tallest part of our value proposition, just a quick check. Do you have any question?
There is one more question that we have from the audience, Rahul. We can take that before we come on our side. Which reporting tools can Qualitia integrate with?
So as I said, we integrated with Jira and Azure by default, but Qualitia does a good job even analyzing the reports. Okay, so we create multiple dashboards, and this has come with our 14 years of experience. What the product leaders would need versus automation engineers would need versus the engineering leaders would need. So you can slice and dice this data based on sprints or between two releases or a timeline. We'll tell you how many test scripts were executed. Of course, the past fail result based on the sprint cycle. What is the behavior across browsers? Which are the defects that are reoccurring in a particular environment? What is the behavior across different devices? All that data is analyzed and given to the user as a report. On the top of that, you can fetch all this data into any BI tool and create your own dashboards also. Absolutely no concerns.
Awesome. Thank you. Anuj.
Thanks, Rahul. Thanks for the whole demo. Uh, really insightful. Any questions apart from this before we move on? Okay, I'll take that as a no.
So we go now to the self-heal part of it.
Yeah.
Something that every test automation actually truly loved it so far. And it is about that endless pain of updating XPath. See, today biggest anxiety is not one's ability to handle complex flows, but the biggest anxiety is whether or not that will run in any environment and browser as intended. And we want to solve this problem because it takes humongous efforts, even though it's very subtle. 60% of scripts fail today on Salesforce clouds. And that means so much of rework every time you execute. So Qualitia built this technology almost 4 or 5 years back and almost 6 odd years of research behind it. So what it does, it self-heals during execution. And to show you that, we'll do a simple recording of one of the flow. Now, this is a form with only one static property value pair. Okay? Because we can't show you dynamism unless we force a static value to change. So we'll record this form. Now, Qualitia has recorded everything, every single step, and whatever data that we have used became our first data iteration. Okay. Now we will execute this script. Of course, it is expected to get executed as it is. and it will generate exactly the same report. So we'll skip the report and we get into changing these unique static property value pairs. And that is what the dynamism does to every execution. It will change to unexpected value so that the script would fail. So let's look at a couple of fields. Let's say if you see full name has only one unique property value, that is name. Let's change that. Okay, let's change that to Anuj.
Yeah.
And we'll change one more field. Okay, we'll also change the location.
Yes.
And the name value will change to Smruti. So we changed the location and we changed the property value pair. Now, any tool would fail. I'll tell you what most of the tool try to do. They try to learn multiple property value pair, hoping that one of them will be a match. And that holds true, but only 20-25% of the time. Now, there is nothing else to store as another property value pair, but then we'll still execute the script and Qualitia will self-heal with its AI algorithms during execution. See, the script got executed. We also highlighted the steps where the self-healing has happened. And you can navigate it through directly through this arrow. So name and identity number. And that's the power of certainty that Boson brings on the table. It's a good question that will it help in those 3 releases of Salesforce every year? Absolutely. Brilliant question. So there are 2 types of changes. So some that we learn as a change through a sync mechanism, and there are changes that we learn that we self-heal during execution. So both the mechanisms ensure that you are well taken care, well protected against all those changes that Salesforce will bring in thrice a year. Good question. Yeah, so with this, I'm concluding this brief demo. I hope all of you really liked it.
Thanks, Rahul, for the insights.
Well, we have another one. It says learning curve for non-technical teams.
Yeah, there is a learning curve for non-technical teams, but it is not about programming. It is not about Salesforce. It is about the design thinking. Because the scalability of your test automation lies on the foundation of your design. And that's the basic thing. Let's say you have a very complex end-to-end flow. How do you look at the reusability is the basic learning that they need to go through. In few cases, they need to learn what is API if they don't have an exposure to API. Even though even Salesforce APIs are learned automatically, but some introduction to API. Otherwise, within a week or 2, they're all good to start delivering the results using Boson.
Thanks, Rahul. Thanks for taking up those questions. Before we wrap up, right, the key takeaways from the webinar. Generate Salesforce automated flows with just one click. That's the USP of the tool, right? Eliminate the efforts of building test automation. Standard and custom objects can be used both ways with the one click. Role-based flows can be built up. We can update your Salesforce test automation for every release, as the question was asked as well. Really nice question there. So you can be ahead of your time, right? When you have the Salesforce environment available with the new release available in your UAT environment, you are already ahead of time. You already have those changes available with your self-heal and your one-click automation. You can go ahead and do all of that which is really amazing. Interact with all other applications from end-to-end integration tests. That again was covered as part of the demo. Rahul said, ADO, Jira, and any other tools that we are there in the market. All of those tools are integratable, and then we can work with all of them. So really nice on that. The measurable impact, which is a client's or customer's major need. We can Qualitia Boson can accelerate your time to market 30%, which is really, when it comes down to numbers in millions of dollars, it really makes a lot of difference when you bring down that 30% accelerated time to market. Excellent user experience from the very first release for everyone. No piled up backlogs. Engineering heads love it because it gives them 100% confidence in release quality. 30% reduction in implementation time and cost, as we said, and it's a plus for the QA leaders, right? We've all faced all of that issues wherein we've had production defects, and we had to go back and do those changes again and retest all of that. There you have an 80% defect arrested in QA environment itself rather than in the production, or probably in pre-production as well, right? And 70% reduction in costs of quality. With all those key takeaways and measurable impact, huge thanks to Hitesh, Rahul, and Smriti for the webinar. Thanks for joining us. And for everyone else, before we wrap up, right, you will receive this session replay and slides within the next 24 hours. Check your inboxes. That'll be available with you. If you have any questions, come back to us. We can all discuss that, and we can get on with solutions as requested.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for organizing it. Thanks, Rahul. Thanks, Smriti, for joining in. And for all our listeners in the audience, we truly acknowledge and appreciate the time that you have spent today, and looking forward to working with you with an opportunity to bring value to you and impact your transformations. Thanks so much.
Thank you, everyone. Stay
Thank
connected
you.
with TechForce community. We're there on LinkedIn. You can obviously scan the QR code and get connected with us. Thanks, everyone.
Nice.
Thank you.